Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Wilderness Fitness Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Dr. Rob Minturn, physical therapist, strength and conditioning specialist. Hope you guys had a great week. Hopefully, if you're in the Midwest and the West, you're enjoying the beautiful snowfall. This week, I'm going to go over footwork drills for the running athlete. Before we dive into that, let's go over the Spicy Saturday workout. See what Justin cooked up this week. So it looks like you're going to have 4 different rounds of an AMRAP. So you're going to do as many rounds of these exercises as possible. The first round is going to be 20 squat jumps and 10 burpees. So you've got 4 minutes to complete that. You're going to do as many rounds of that as possible. So you do 20 squat jumps into 10 burpees. You're just going to go through that as many times as you can. Track how many you do in those 4 minutes. Then you're going to rest for 1 minute. And then you're going to go on to round 2, which is going to be 20 goblet squats plus 10 burpees. So you're going to do as many of those as you can in 4 minutes. You're going to rest for a minute. And then the last one is going to be 20 dumbbell or kettlebell thrusters with 10 burpees. So you really got on the burpee train this week. Again, you're doing as many rounds as you can in those 4 minutes. The dumbbell weight, kettlebell weight for the RX is going to be 35 pounds for the guys and 15 pounds for the ladies. The scaled movements are going to be for round 1. Instead of doing squat jumps, you're going to just do 20 squats. For round 2, instead of 20 goblet squats, you're going to do 10 goblet squats. For round 3, you're going to do 10 squats plus 10 dumbbell or kettlebell shoulder presses. So instead of doing a thruster where it's all in one, you're going to split the movements apart and do them in two separate movements with 10 squats and 10 dumbbell or kettlebell presses. Okay. For the scaled movements, you're going to do 20 pounds for the guys and 10 pounds for the ladies. So those will be with dumbbells or kettlebells. Okay. If you guys have any questions on that, feel free to comment on this post. Send us a message or send us an email. Okay. As far as the newsletter goes, that's going to go out tomorrow. So if you guys are not signed up for that, check out the link in the bio and get signed up for that. There's always some. I try to get 1 or 2 little pearls of information in there, so be sure to check that out. So, all right, without any further ado, I think we took care of the housekeeping things. Also, hopefully everybody out at the Hunt Expo is enjoying themselves, and you guys are getting to see some new products. I've seen some pretty cool vendors there, so hopefully you guys are seeing some cool products and getting your hands on some good gear here that you can use in 2025. All right, so footwork, plyometric work, speed drills, whatever you want to call it for the runner. So what are they? I've called them plyometrics before in previous posts, and I've got some messages on like what exactly are plyometrics. So what they are is they're foot coordination drills designed to stimulate the power fibers of our muscles in the legs. Okay, it's good, can be good core work too, but it's mostly designed to really stimulate the fast twitch muscle fibers within the lower leg, the ankle foot, and within the quad, hamstring, and sometimes your glutes too. All right. Why does this help? So again, the power fibers, the type 2 muscle fibers are the fibers that grow the most, and I'm going to get into more detail on this in a little bit, but those are the fibers that grow the most. And for an endurance athlete, you need to stimulate growth in those type 2 muscle fibers for muscle recovery, for injury prevention, and for performance enhancement. It helps improve the stride, the power with each stride that you have. So who are they for? So these footwork, plyometric drills, speed drills, whatever you want to call them, who are they for? They're really for anybody. They're for the older adult. They're for folks, women dealing with pelvic floor issues. I'm going to touch on that in a later podcast. Same thing with the older adult. I'm going to touch on that in a later podcast because those are 2 very different populations. But they're also, again, beneficial for the runner, and that's what we're going to go over tonight. So what do they do? I've talked about it already a little bit with stimulating the type 2 muscle fibers. This is, again, a performance enhancing component to plyometric drills. It really enhances the elasticity, the quick stretch response, and the power response within those type 2 muscle fibers. That is what helps you boost your power with each step. It gives you more push off with each step. So even if you've got just a little bit of an incline, that's going to demand more power out of your muscles and out of the tendons. So if you can enhance that with footwork drills, it's going to really improve your stride length and push off and efficiency with that. So It also reduces the overall mileage. So in endurance athletes, the overall mileage is going to be, everybody's focused on increasing the overall endurance, right? But if you can improve someone's endurance capacity and ability to handle long duration loads without actually having to do a long duration bout, that's going to be huge in terms of a injury performance component. So again, it's going to reduce the time training. So you can spend more time in recovery. It's going to reduce the overall mileage. So again, you're not putting the ground and pound on the ankle, on the knee, on the hip, on the low back. You're not getting all that pounding in as far as impact with the ground, which is not bad. But again, if you're with your training, you're trying to do the least amount possible and get the most benefit. So anytime that you can enhance your performance without having to put on all those miles, it's going to be super beneficial. It also reduces the ground reaction force time between your foot and the ground. So when you're out for a jog, it may seem quick, but in terms of therapy and in terms of performance, when you're out for a slow jog, there's a long time between the contact of your foot with the ground, and then long time between the contact of your foot with the ground, and then when your foot leaves the ground. When you do these plyometric drills, you're trying to do, like you're doing very short, choppy steps. I almost combined those two words there. You're doing very short, choppy steps. You're trying to get off the ground as quickly as possible, so the ground reaction force is a lot higher. That's where the power component comes into play, but also you're spending less time on the ground, so you're not having all that impact. So it helps reduce that impact time, which is also going to help reduce your injury rate. Okay. So the last little piece on this is really how to incorporate these footwork drills into someone's training, because you're with this, you're probably thinking, I'm already running, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe 20, 30 miles a week, 40 miles a week, depending on where you're at with your training status. You're already running a ton. Now this guy is telling me to lift twice a week, at least, if not a third time a week. And now he's telling me that I've got to do some footwork drills. Like, where the hell do I put all this, right? So you don't need to do a ton, and the minimum dose to improve someone's power output and tissue resiliency with the footwork drills is just twice a week. If you're not doing anything now, any amount that you do now is going to be more beneficial than what you were doing before, because you weren't doing anything at all before, right? So if you can get 5 minutes in before your run, or 5 minutes in before your lift, that's going to be beneficial. If you can do, and I would start there, like, you don't need to be super fancy. You don't need to do 15, 20 minutes of this stuff. If you've never done it before, even just 5 minutes twice a week is going to be beneficial. You're going to see progress with that. As far as dosing throughout the week, 2 to 3 times a week is going to be 3 times being on the high end, 2 times being on the low end as far as frequency needed to improve. Once a week, again, is going to be that maintenance phase where you're not doing it all the time. You're just doing enough to maintain. That might be something that you do more closer to your hunt or closer to your event. If you have a running event, a trail run or something like that, even once a week is still going to be enough to maintain the progress. Okay, as you dial back your training for your recovery weeks leading up to the event. With that, so again, you're going to do them. So you're going to warm up. You'll get to the gym, or you go do some dynamic warm-ups before you go for a run, and then that would be between your warm-up and then when you actually start your actual workout. That's when I shouldn't say actual workout, because it's part of your actual workout. Before you go into the main workout, that's when you would incorporate the plyometric movements. All right. So what do you do once, like, you're like, okay, I'm going to start incorporating this into my workout routine? Well, what do you do? You've got a couple different options. To keep it basic and give you the meat and potatoes of everything, you're going to look at single leg and double leg options, right? Single leg being you're hopping on one leg, you're changing surface types, that sort of thing. Double leg, obviously, you're hopping onto and off of 2 feet. You can also do a combination of both, right? Maybe hopping off the box from 2 legs down to 1 leg, or hopping up onto the box from 1 leg over to 2 legs. You have a lot of variety with that, but you want to make sure that you're getting both single leg and double leg activity in there, just for the variety. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're getting in there is you're moving in all 3 planes of motion. So we've got side to side, we've got front to back, and then we've got rotation. You want to make sure that you're stimulating the muscles and you're forcing them to adapt in all 3 planes of motion, because when you're out for a run, especially trail runners, if you hit a rut, if you hit a rock, it's not just single planar motion. You're going to go into maybe 2 different planes, sometimes 3 different planes, depending on what happens. like a plant twist, right? You're getting a rotational component, you're getting a forward motion component, and you might be falling off to the side. So now you're getting that side to side component. So it's important to train in all three motions so that way your lower leg, your ankle, and your foot are used to being stressed in those positions and in that fashion. So that way it's not a novel experience when that happens, when you trip over a rut, when you trip over a rock, when you trip over deadfall if you're out hunting. It's not a new experience for those tissues. So that way they're able to hopefully overcome the demand and not become injured. All right, that's all I've got. If you guys have any questions, I'll check it out here. What's up, Mark? Ty, hi, Leanne. All right, sweet. There's no questions. So hopefully you guys are having a great Friday evening. Hopefully you guys are having a great Valentine's. I forgot it was Valentine's Day just now. So hopefully you guys are having a great Valentine's Day, and we will catch you next week. Peace. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Wilderness Fitness Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please head over to your podcast app and consider leaving a review. If you think a friend or a family member may benefit from listening to this podcast, please consider sharing this episode with them. We appreciate your help in the growth of this podcast. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram for even more content, and the weekly Hump Day Q&A, where you can get all of your human performance, rehab, women's health, and injury prevention questions answered. If you're interested in getting hooked up with even more content from Wilderness PT from the comfort of your own home, head over to wildernessphysicaltherapy.com and get signed up for the Spike Camp membership. This is where you'll have access to prior seminars and a workout that'll have you in shape each fall, designed by yours truly. Since you're there, check out the mid-month media newsletter that goes out 1 to 2 times a month, which includes a variety of topics with the most recent research on health and human performance. You can sign up by hovering over the free resources section and subscribe to any of the free guides, or simply sign up under the mid-month media newsletter tab.